Hi friends, this is the next class of accounting, that is general principle of accounting, and after this it will take nearly some 2 to 3 classes to complete the full syllabus. But I am unable to understand why the views of the videos are getting very less, as well as there are no more subscribers. If at all there is any problem in the quality as well as in the content, do comment. We will try to improve ourselves. And if you feel the content is good, please do share with your friends. And if you are not subscribed, please do subscribe and press the bell icon. So let's start the class. In this accounting, we will be discussing about the consignment account. And this is very important topic as per the EPFO examination. As in 2017 exam, there were two questions that were asked from this topic, and those were very basic questions. In this class, we will be dealing each and every provisions, as well as what is consignor, who is consignee, and many of the provisions which will be helpful. So what is consignment account? The consign, actually the word consign means is to send. That means the consign means to send. See, if I am a person and I have an organization, I need to sell my product. So I will send my products to the groceries, right? Grocery shop, and I will tell that please do sell this product so that I can give commission for you. So whatever I send, this sending process is nothing but consign, CONSIGN, consign. And here, this person, that is I am sending, I am consigner. Okay, I am consigner. And who is this grocery shop owner? He is consignee. That means he is taking product from me and he is reselling it. See, in accounting term, the consignment account relates to accounts dealing with a situation where one person or firm sends goods to another person on the basis that goods will be sold on behalf of, and it is the risk of the former. That means whatever goods that an organization, let's say ABC is an organization, and he has produced a product, some of the product, and he need to sell it to the customers. What he will do, he will approach the grocery shop and he will say that you should sell my products so that I will give commission to you. Here he is a consigner, he is a consignee, and he will pay commission in order to sell this product. But when the product is sold to the groceries, okay, it is not the ownership of the groceries, but although the ownership will remain with the consigner itself and not the consignee. That means ownership will be with ABC Limited only, but not with the grocery shop. This is the simple meaning. The following should be noted carefully. There are some of the terms that should be noted carefully. One is the party which sends the goods, that is consigner, is called principal. And the party whom goods are sent, that means in this example, that is grocery shop. Okay, we are sending the goods to the grocery shop in order to sell. Here, he is the consignee and he is called agent. The ownership of the goods in the property, in the goods, remains with the consigner. That means here it will remain with the ABC Limited itself, but not with the grocery shop. Although the goods are with grocery shop, but the ownership is of ABC. The ownership of the goods in the property in the goods remains with the consigner or the principal. Okay, or the principal. The agent or the consignee does not become their owner even though goods are in his possessions. On sale, of course, the buyer will become the owner. That means whenever a good is sold to the customer, then that customer will become the owner for that product. The consignor does not send an invoice to the consignee. Do remember, the consignor does not send an invoice to the consignee. He sends only a pro forma invoice, a statement that looks like an invoice but is really not one. The object of the pro forma invoice is only to convey the information to the consignee regarding particulars of the goods sent. That means, see, as being an organization, that is ABC Limited, what ABC will do, it will say that there are some of the 10 products, say biscuits or any of the Lays and all. He will say that I will send it to the grocery shop, then it's a responsibility of the grocery shop that you should sell it to the customers. What does this consignee get? He will get commission. Okay. So how the price is decided. Okay, what the ABC will do is that he will send a performer invoice. In this, there will be listed that biscuit is of 5 rupees and chips is of 5 rupees. This looks like an invoice, but it is not an invoice, and it is just a reference to the consignee, that is grocery shop. Hope you understood. Usually the consignee recovers from the consignor all expenses incurred by him on the consignment. This, however, can be changed by the agreement between the two parties. What is the simple meaning? See, as I told that whenever the grocery shop will sell the products to the customer, he will get commission from the ABC Limited, that is consignor. Right? How he will get? The consignee, that is the grocery shop owner, what he will do? He will send one document stating that this is the commission that he should get, this was the product that was sold, and this was the date and price that he has sold. In this, the commission he will get, it will be from the consignor, that is from the ABC Limited. Regarding this, in this class itself we will be dealing a detailed solution as well as example, so do watch the video till the end so that you can get complete detailed information. Next, it is also usual for the consignee to give an advance to the consignor in the form of cash or a bill of exchange. It is adjusted against the sale proceeds of the goods. See, what does this means? Example. See, as I am a owner of the grocery shop, what he will do? The ABC Limited has given in some products. Okay, it is of 50 rupees. Just imagine it is of 50 rupees. What grocery shop will do? In advance, he will give 30 rupees to him before selling the product itself. Right? This is nothing but the meaning of the statement. That is, the consignee, usually the consignee, give an advance to the consignor in the form of cash or a bill of exchange. It is adjusted against the sales. That means after the sales, whatever the amount that needs to be given, that is 50 rupees, needs to be given back to the ABC Limited. In this 30 rupees is deducted. That means only 20 rupees should be returned to the ABC Limited. Or he can give the bill of exchange. Now, as I told that the grocery shop owner will get the commission for selling the product. See here, for this work, the consignee receives a commission calculated on the basis of gross sale. For ordinary commission, the consignee is not responsible for any bad debt that may arise. If the agent is to be made responsible for bad debts, he is to be paid a commission called del crede commission. We will try to understand with the example. See, there are two types of commission. One is ordinary commission and the other is del crede commission. Now, what is ordinary commission? It is nothing but the commission that is sold, that is given to the grocery shop owner by the ABC Limited when the sale is done by this grocery shop, and the commission is given on the complete amount that he has sold, right? But in this, whenever the grocery shop gives the credit, that means without getting the money he is giving the product, at that time the debitor, that is the whatever amount he has given to the customer, it is not the responsibility of the grocery shop, but it is the responsibility of the ABC Limited. Okay, in this time the commission that he will get is only ordinary commission. Fine. But whenever the commission that is given to the grocery shop owner, when he has taken the credit amount that is given to the customer as his own responsibility, that means if at all the amount is not returned by the customer, then the grocery shop owner will pay it to the consignor, that is to the ABC Limited, from his own pocket. At that time, the commission that he will get is nothing but del cred commission. It is calculated on the total sales, not merely on the credit sales, until and unless agreed. Okay. In this class itself, we will deal with complete definition and in detail just within 5 to 10 minutes. Do watch it. Periodically, the consignee sends to the consignor, that is sends to the consignor, a statement called account sales. Do remember, this is account sales. Sales account is different and account sales is different. Periodically, that means from time to time, the consignees, that is ABC Limited, will send the consignor, that is grocery shop. sorry, from periodically the consignees, that is the grocery shop, will send consigner a statement called account sales. This grocery shop owner will send a statement to the ABC Limited and it is called as account sales. What does it contain? It sets out the sales made by the consignee, the expenses incurred on behalf of the consigner, the commission earned by the consignee, and the balance due to the consigner. Right, we will try to understand with example. Just imagine there were 10 products that need to be sold by the grocery shop owner that were sent by the ABC Limited. Now, after selling this, what does grocery shop owner will do? He will send an account sales statement. He will send an account sales statement. In that, he will mention that out of 10, 9 products have been sold, and on this 9 products, I will get a commission of 10 rupees. Okay, he will send the statement, and in the advance, he has paid 20 rupees. So the debt is 10 rupees that he should be paid by the consigner. This is the statement that is sent by the consignee, that is a grocery shop owner, to whom? To ABC Limited. Firms usually like to ascertain the profit or loss on each consignment or consignments to each consignee. See, now there are two types. One is consignment and sale. We will try to differentiate between the consignment as well as sale. Ownership of the goods rests with the consignor till the time they are sold by the consignee, no matter the goods are transferred to the consignee. Then what does sale means? The ownership of the goods transfers with the transfer of goods from the seller to the buyer. See, we'll take an example. As we said that there is an ABC Limited and here is a grocery shop. Okay. What does if the ABC tell the grocery shop that do sell my product? At that time, it is called consignment. Okay, because whatever goods that are lying with the grocery shop, he is not the owner of that. But even though it is lying with this grocery shop, ABC Limited is the owner of this. But if at all ABC itself, if at all grocery shop itself was the customer of ABC and he has purchased some of the products and he has paid in cash completely, then grocery shop itself is the complete owner of those products, right? At that time it is called sales because the amount has been taken and given back. This is sales. Next, the consignee can return the unsold goods to the consignor. That means if there were 10 biscuits and only 9 are sold but even 1 is remaining, then the consignee, that is grocery shop owner, can return it to the ABC Limited. But whereas in sales it is not possible. It can be possible only on the terms and conditions. See, goods sold are the property of the buyer and can be returned only if the seller agrees. That means only if ABC agrees, then only it can be returned back. Third, consignor bears the loss of the goods held with the consignee. That means ABC Limited will bears the loss. That means he will be considered that it is the loss of himself and not the loss of grocery shop. Whereas in terms of sales, it is the buyer who will bear the loss, if any, after the transfer of goods. Once transfer of goods has been taken place, then it is the responsibility of the person who has brought it. Fourth one, the relationship between the consignor and the consignee is that of principal and agent. In this class itself, we have discussed what is principal and what is agent. Next, the relationship between the seller and the buyer is that of creditor and debtor, right? Someone is giving money, he is creditor, and someone is taking that money, he is debtor. Expenses done by the consignee to receive the goods and to keep it safely are borne by the consignor unless there is any other agreement. In sales, expenses incurred by the buyer are to borne by the buyer itself after the transfer of goods. That means, see, ABC Limited has transferred some of the goods to the grocery shop. While transporting this, whatever amount that is spent for transportation, just imagine it is 10,000. This 10,000 is brought, that means it is the responsibility of the ABC to pay this transportation amount in terms of consignment. But if grocery shop has itself bought the product directly from the ABC Limited, then bringing this to the grocery shop, transportation amount of 10,000, it is the responsibility of this grocery shop owner and not of the ABC Limited. Hope you understood. It is a simple basic understanding. Although this video seems to be very factual, but you need to remember these facts. If you watch the video 2 times and if you read the PDF for at least 1 time, then it will be very easy for you to understand. If you want the PDF, you can join the Telegram channel. You can find the link in the description. And if you have any query, you can comment it. Next, valuation of inventories. Okay, valuation of inventories. The principle is that inventories should be valued at the cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. In our previous accounting classes, we have seen that whatever inventory we have, that is, it is called stock. Okay, inventory is nothing but stock. Whatever we have inventory, we should always measure as less as possible because it is profit and we should not anticipate more. What they have given, the principle is that inventory should be valued at the cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. That means if at the cost it is 10k and if it at the realizable value it is 12k, then you should always consider it on cost. Whichever is less, you should consider it as a stock. The same principle is practiced for preparing final accounts. In the case of consignment, cost means not only the cost of goods as such to the consignor, but also all expenses incurred till the goods reach the premises of the consignee. Right? See, as we taken the previous example, ABC has transferred the goods to the grocery shop. While transporting, he has accounted 10,000 rupees as a expenditure. Now, what ABC will do, if the product cost is 10k, okay, and the transportation is 10k, then he will add completely this 20k to his sale of goods. That means it is the total amount that he has spent on those products. This is nothing but the valuation of inventories. Such expenses include packing, freight, cartridge, insurance in transit, import duty. But expenses incurred after the goods have reached the consignee's godown, such as godown rent, insurance of godown, delivery charges, salesman salaries, are not treated as the part of cost of purchase for valuing inventories on hand. This is why in the case given above, inventories have been valued ignoring godown rent and insurance. That means when the goods reach the grocery shop by the ABC Limited, only the transportation cost is calculated, but the amount that is incurred to keep the product safely in the godown, the rent of the godown, although it is beared by the consignor, that is ABC Limited, but it is not taken into account. Okay. Next, what is normal loss? There are 2 types of loss. One is normal loss and the second is abnormal loss. Just imagine I have given 10,000 apples. Okay, just imagine I have given 10,000 apples to a shopkeeper and I have told him that do sell these apples. Now, I normally know that in this 10,000 apples, normally 1,000 apples will be lost as they are not good. And it is normal in transportation and all, it will happen. So what I will think, only 9k apples I have shared. Now, the loss of 1,000 apples is normal for me and I will treat as a normal loss. But if at all, while transporting this 10,000 apple, there was an accident and I lost 5,000 apples completely. Now, this has happened due to incident or accident, right? Now, this is not a normal loss because it will not happen daily with me. Now, this is called abnormal loss. See, we will try to understand with example as well as definition. If some loss is unavoidable, as I told, apple is a perishable good. That means it is not going to stay for lifelong. It is a perishable good. Of course, it will spoil. So, in 10,000, loss of 1,000 apples is not a big deal, right? It is unavoidable. It would be spread over the entire consignment while valuing the inventories. The total cost plus expenses incurred should be divided by the quantity available after the normal loss to ascertain the cost per unit. Okay, now we will try to understand this definition by an example. Suppose 10,000 kg of apples, 10,000 kg of apples are consigned, that is are sent to a wholesaler. The cost being rupees 30 per kg plus 40,000 of freight. That means transporting this 10 kg apple, it has incurred 40,000 for me in order to transport it. It is concluded that a loss of 15% is unavoidable. That means in this 10,000 kg apple, 15% is a normal loss that is incurred for me for every transportation. The cost per kg will be 3,40,000. Why? Because see, for 10,000 kg, what is the cost for per kg? It is 30 rupees. Therefore, 10,000 into 30 is 3,40,000. Now, they have told that there is a 15% unavoidable loss. Remove this 15% from 10,000 kg of apple. The remaining will be 8,500 kg. Now, divide the total cost divided by 3,40,000 divided by 8,500. What is the remaining apple? See, if the unsold inventory is 1,000 kg, its value will be 40,000 rupees. Accordingly, no entry is recorded for the normal loss and same is considered as expenses, which is considered for the valuation of remaining inventory. Hope you understood. If you haven't, please do pause this video and read it from here itself. It will be easy for you to understand. Or else do go back just 30 to 40 second backs so that it will be easy for you to understand it. Next, what is abnormal loss? See, in the previous 2017 EPFO question, there was a numerical question on this. That is, what is abnormal loss? If any accidental or unnecessary loss occurs, the proper thing to do is to find out the cost of the goods thus lost and then credit it to the consignment account and they debit the profit and loss account. This will enable the consignor to know what the profit would have been earned if had the loss not taken place. That means if the loss has not been taken place, then what was the profit that I would be able to get? This is calculated as per the abnormal loss. We will take an example. Suppose there are 1,000 sieving machines costing 2,500 each. Now, what is the total cost of this? 1,000 into 2,500. See, 1,000 into 2,500 is nothing but 25,000 rupees. Sorry, 1 tens, 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh. Right, it's 25 lakh, right? 1,000 into 25,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's 25, yeah. 1 tens, 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh. Yeah, 25 lakh rupees. Okay. Each are sent on consignment basis and rupees 10,000 are spent for freight. That means for transportation, there is a cost that is incurred is 10,000 rupees. Each. 20 machines are damaged beyond repair. That means 20 machines are normally lost. That means in an accident, I have lost these 20 machines and they are not repairable. Therefore, I am in loss of 20 machines due to an accident and it is an abnormal loss. See, now how to calculate the abnormal loss? What is the cost of lost machines? It is 20 into 2,500. It is 50,000 rupees. Then what was the expenses incurred for each machine for transportation? I will calculate it. That is 20,000 into 20 machines into 10,000 rupees. Okay. Because I have calculation of 10,000 rupees for each and every machine. In that I have to calculate the transportation cost for only 20 machines. Therefore, I will multiply the whole total cost of transportation into 20 divided by the number of machines, that is divided by 1000. Now I have got rupees 200. That means 200 rupees has been the cost of these 20 machines to transport. Now what is the total amount that I have incurred? It is 50,200. That means if at all there was no any accident, then there was a profit of 50,200 for the consignor. See, this amount should be credited to the consignment account and debited to profit and loss account. Do remember, you need to remember this fact, or you need to buy this fact, that is the abnormal loss, it is credited to the consignment account and it is debited to the profit and loss account. If any amount, say rupees 40,000 is received from the insurers, then debit to the profit and loss account will be only 10,200. Why? See, as I told you, in the abnormal situation, always there will be insurance that is made by the companies, and at that time the insurance is recoverable. That means they will pay the amount that has been lost. Now, the lost amount is 50,200, but the insurance that I have claimed is 40,000, right? Now, what I will do, I will minus this 40,000 from this, and the amount that is remaining is 10,200, right? Then what does this says is that the debit to the profit and loss account will be 10,200 only, because 40,000 has been received. Then I should not debit this 40,000 from my profit and loss account, but I need to debit only 10,200. But in the consignment account, the credit should always be 50,200. Whatever the amount that is abnormal loss, it should be the credit to the consignment account, even though you have claimed the insurance. See, if you want to read the difference between the abnormal and normal loss, you can read it from the PDF, or you can pause the video and you can read it. Okay. Now, as we have discussed, ABC Limited, okay, which is giving the products to the grocery shop. Whenever this grocery shop owner will sell the products, he will get the commission from this ABC Limited, right? Commission is the remuneration paid by the consignor to the consignee for the services rendered to the former for selling the consigned goods. Three types of commissions can be provided by the consignor to the consignee as per the agreement, either simultaneously or isolation. They are, which are that? We have discussed ordinary commission, that is on the gross profit or gross sales, he will provide the commission to the grocery shop owner. And what is del creditor commission? As we said that whatever the debt is, that it is the responsibility of the grocery shop. Okay, at that time the commission is higher and it is called del cred commission. Whereas in ordinary commission, the bad debts or the debts that has provided by the grocery shop to the customer, it is the responsibility of the consignor, that is the company. At that time the consignee will get only normal commission, that is ordinary commission. Whereas the risk is borne, that is risk is taken by the consignee, that is grocery shop owner, then he will get the higher commission. It is called as del cred commission. Now in this, there is another type of commission called as overriding commission. What is this? The company will provide more commission in order to sell his product itself. Just imagine, we will take in two examples. If there is a grocery shop, okay, or any of the hotel or restaurant, and in this there are two cold drinks, one is Pepsi and another is Coca-Cola. Now the representative from the Pepsi will come and say that if you sell Pepsi more than the Coca-Cola, then I will pay you more extra commission. In order to get this more commission, what this restaurant owner will do, he will say that we have only Pepsi, okay, and we don't have any Coca-Cola. So the sale of the Pepsi will increase, right? Sale of the Pepsi will increase. This is nothing but in order to get the extra commission as if he is paying more commission, he is selling more. This is nothing but overriding commission. That means he is overriding the commission of other. This is nothing but overriding commission. Next, return of goods from the consignee. See, whenever the ABC Limited has given some of the product to sell to the consignee, although the products are with the consignee, but he is not the owner of those products. That means the grocery shop owner is not the owner of those products. The owner of the products is ABC Limited. Now, if the product is not sold, or if the quality of the product is not good, what the consignee will do, that is the grocery shop owner will do, he will say that please take your goods back because they are not selling from past 6 months. So you can take it back to your company. He will say this. Now, the transportation charge that the ABC Limited will bear in order to bring back this, although it is taken by the ABC Limited, right, but this will be not credited or debited to the profit and loss account. Just remember this thing. Now we will try to understand the definition. Considering goods can be returned by the consignee because of many reasons like poor quality or not up to the specimen or destroyed in transit. In such a situation, the question arises, what is the valuation of the returned goods? Consigned goods returned by the consignee to the consignor are valued at the price at which it was consigned to the consignee. That means the goods that are being returned back to the company, those are valued at the same cost that were given to the grocery shop. Expenses incurred by the consignee to send those goods back to the consignor are not taken into consideration while valuing it, because goods were already in a saleable conditions and locations, and changing the location back from the consignee to consignor is not the cost which must have to be incurred to sell the goods. This is generally called secondary freight in accounting terms. Okay, why it is called secondary freight? We will try to understand. See, at the first time ABC will send the goods to the grocery shop. It is the first freight. Now, due to some reason, the grocery shop owner will send it back to the ABC. This is second freight. Therefore, it is called second transportation. That is secondary freight. Hope you understood. Next, in this class itself, we have seen sales accounting. Okay. Now this is accounting sales. Account sales. An account sale is the periodical summary statement sent by the consignee to the consignor. It contains details regarding sales made. As I told, 10 biscuits were there. He has sold 9. He will mention this. Expenses incurred on behalf of the consignor. Okay. In selling this, the consignee has made some of the expense and consignor has made some of the expense. The expenses made by the consignor are mentioned in this. Commission earned. What is the commission that the consignor should pay to the consignee? And unsold inventories left with the consignee. Advance payment on security deposit with the consignor and the extent to which it has been adjusted. Balance payment due to review or re-emitted. It is the summary statement and it is different from sales account. Do remember, it is different from sales account. Hope you have understood each and every point that we have discussed. If you haven't, please do watch the video once again or do read the PDF for at least one time. If you want the PDF, do join the Telegram channel. The link will be provided in the description. And we have covered the full syllabus of Social Security, as well as it will take not more than 2 to 3 classes to cover the accounting classes. And we have also started a course on English as well as industrial relation and labor laws. If you haven't watched, please do watch those videos. One request is, please do share this video with your friends or at least in one Telegram channel that you know. And thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned.